Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. I'm very happy to say that we've got another Darjeeling that has arrived at Mayleaf. It has been a long journey, me and Darjeeling. I've been sampling Darjeeling for many, many years, getting to know it, getting to understand the intricacies between the different estates, the different styles, etc. And I've always felt a little bit like I get Darjeelings that have a lot of aroma, that have an amazing promise on the nose, but when you taste them, they just don't deliver. Maybe they're a bit too harsh in the mouth. Maybe they're a bit too flat. Maybe some of those beautiful aromatics, which is bursting from the gaiwan or pot, is just not translated into the taste. And so I've never really purchased until last year. Last year was the first year that we purchased a muscatel from Castleton, a lovely muscatel, really, really rich in those muscatel notes, unlike a lot of muscatel Darjeelings. And so this year I was hopeful that we would be able to find another one, and I tasted probably about 30 or so, and I was about to give up until this beauty came along. This was literally the last set of samples that arrived. So let's quickly scope this tea. Season, this is from the 11th of June, 2023, so summer picked, and that's the muscatel date range. The cultivar, this is from the Tukda 383 China hybrid. Not much I know about that, but it is a China hybrid, so it comes from original sort of China seedlings, and it's a Tukda 383 hybrid that was clearly developed by the Darjeeling Tea Association, I'm assuming. Origin, this is from Singbulli Estate in Darjeeling in India, and this is from pickings which are, as you can see, quite varied, and I hope that you appreciate and notice that these pickings are very different from the majority of Darjeeling pickings that you get out there. This is really big, whole leaf. This has been processed very, very carefully. Unlike a lot of Darjeelings, which look like it's gone through a more of a sort of CTC process or a conveyor belt process, you can see the look of these leaves. Beautiful palette of colors, from these coppery, plummy colors to the white little buds. You're getting a range of pickings from larger leaves all the way through younger leaves into buds. So a lovely full spectrum color, full spectrum picking, and crucially very, very well intact leaf. The most that I've seen out of any Darjeelings, actually. Elevation around 1,100 meters. Right, let's get stuck in. Heat this new guy one up. I hope you like it. My journey with Darjeeling has been a long one. For many years I was asked, why are you not stocking Darjeeling? Why are you not stocking Darjeeling? I love first flush Darjeelings. I love second flush Darjeelings. Why are you not stocking? And I would always feel really frustrated. It's like, why am I not stocking Darjeelings? But I had to stay true to my taste and stay true to my palate and say, look, if I'm not gonna be happy to give this to a best friend, then I'm not gonna stock it. And so even though the temptation is obviously very high because there's a demand out there, I was very, very clear that I wasn't gonna change the way that I was going to be sourcing my teas. And as I said, a lot of the time, a lot of great fragrance and a very unique fragrance, the Darjeeling smell compared with Chinese and Japanese and Taiwanese and Korean, any other country. Very, very unique, and holds so much promise, and yet didn't quite live up to it in the taste and the texture. Let's see how this one fares. The most amazing aromatics. And what's so wonderful about tea is that you can smell the origin. I smell spices. I smell mangoes. I smell saffron, like really, really ripe mangoes. Really, really fragrant saffron. I'm getting turmeric, fresh turmeric. There's a sweet sugared note as well. Again, now maybe I'm sort of imagining it, but I'm entering in those Indian sweets that are really sticky with so much syrup on them. So, you can go to these Indian sweet shops and you see this vast array of like deep fried, some spongy, some crispy desserts with different colors, but all tend to be all soaked in syrup, maybe a sort of a saffron syrup. Absolutely absolute delight. Look at those leaves. I'm also getting some baked oranges. I'm getting some tamarind. I'm getting some little bit of milk chocolate, a little bit of malted milk. So there's a creaminess going in. It is just an amazing smell. It's up there with some of the greatest aromatics that I can remember from a black tea. It's got malt, it's got chocolate. It's like Maltesers, you know, the malt with the chocolate coating. Baked oranges, tamarind, mango, saffron, sugary, amazing. And there is a certain sourness to it that reminds me of kombucha. Right, I'm brewing it 95 degrees. Let's give these a quick rinse. And you may be raising your eyebrows that I'm brewing these Gong Fu style as opposed to Indian style or Darjeeling style, which should be less leaves, longer time. But that style is pretty much dominated by British influence, and I tend to stick with the Chinese. This is a Chinese hybrid, so, you know, that's my logic. I just think Gong Fu makes everything taste better, or at least you can really understand the tea for all its greatness and for all its potential flaws. Hopefully not so many flaws in this one. Oh my gosh, the smell is just amazing. Okay, so there's a little bit muscatel. It will be called a muscatel. I probably won't call it a muscatel because it's called muscatel this season. So there's a little bit of muscatel, but it's nothing like the Castleton. The Castleton muscatel is just straight up really muscatel note. All those same notes: saffron, tamarind, mango, cinnamon gum. Very rich in cinnamon. Oh, very rich in cinnamon. And other herbs of that ilk, you know, you could say a little bit of star anise, a little bit of clove, but very much lower down. It's mostly cinnamon, tamarind, mango, saffron, turmeric. It is intoxicating in the best sense. High, bright, piercing, yet rich, foggy. And I feel like I'm walking through a spice bazaar. I mean, it is just, how does tea do it? I don't get it. I know that this is the same with all, you know, terroir-based, you know, products, but I just find tea is the most direct. I smell the tea and I feel, I've never visited India, I need to go, but I feel like I'm sniffing all of those things that I would associate with fruits and spices in a bazaar. Amazing smell. Right. And look at how the color is transforming as well. I was so, like, kind of depressed because I was tasting so many Darjeelings. I was thinking, I'm going to keep going with the Darjeeling. And I was tasting 20, 30, and some of them were like, oh yeah, maybe, and then the aftertaste or the texture, just something let it down. And I was like, oh no, I don't think I can do it. And I had given up. In fact, I think I said it in a live show, like, no Darjeeling this year. I'm sorry, but this bad boy rocked up to change the picture. Look at the color of those leaves. How beautiful is that? And the color of this liquor, like a golden caramel with a slight peachy note as well. All right, here we go. Singbulli Gold. Cheers. You see the difference that comes from keeping the leaves whole. Keeping the leaves undamaged means that everything is softer. Everything is more velvety. I bet that if this had been processed so that it was more coarse cut, it would be too astringent for me. But that is just a delight. The texture. I'll class it as medium in terms of thickness, but it has a lovely, soft, rounded quality to it that is not spiky or aggressive in any way. And the taste. Oops, spilled some. Terrible. That's why I didn't buy these cups, you see. There's always a reason why. You may see them in the videos, but they don't appear because there's always a practical flaw somewhere that makes them unacceptable for our shelves. And this one is a bit unstable. All right, cheers everybody. Loads of that cinnamon gum. The malted quality of the smell of the wet leaf or dry leaf has converted to ice cream. Kulfi. Kulfi ice cream. So kulfi ice cream, a little bit of black pepper, tamarind, cinnamon, rose syrup. There's a note which I think is really lovely, which is watermelon, but the watermelon tastes like it's been cooked. So it's somehow been softened and stewed a little bit. So it's got the watermelon sweetness, but less of that vibrancy. It's like a cooked sweet watermelon. Maybe, do they make dried watermelon? Never seen it. But yeah, it's there as well. Oh, just such a lovely tea. And the feeling on my tongue is glorious as well, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Touch of roasted coconut. But bags and bags of cinnamon, black pepper, saffron, spice. But all, like, take those spices and then turn them into a gum, like, so it's sweet. And you'll get an impression of what this tea is all about. Lots and lots of those sweet spices, and then some creams, like malty kulfis and things like that. And then the fruits of very ripe mangoes and cooked watermelon. Right, let's talk about the finish, because this is one of the reasons why Darjeeling often does not get selected. Is not just the texture, especially with the cut leaves, not just the texture being a bit too, not just aggressive, but like powdery. There's something in the texture that's just not very nice, but also in the finish. The finish can tend to have a bit too much astringency, or can be a little bit flat, lacks that long, warm hum of aromatics. So the physicality on this is lovely. What I'm getting is a cool, minty juiciness on the sides up to the underside of the front of my tongue. So I'm getting this lovely, refreshing, when I breathe in and out, it feels very minty cool. I'm getting a little bit of dryness and astringency on the back to give some balance and texture. And the aftertaste is, dare I say it, vaporous. I mean, it's very unusual for me to say that for a Darjeeling, and it's not quite up there with the likes of, you know, some of the more vaporous Chinese teas, but it definitely has this long-lasting cloud of lovely aromatics in my mouth. And those aromatics would be, so I'm getting a little bit of wintergreen. Again, in that spiced note, slightly mentholated, minty note, wintergreen. There's definitely some liniment quality to it. Again, I don't know why, but I think it really suits that the vision I have of that terroir. But there's a warmth there. I'll put it back to baked oranges, which I've already mentioned. Touch of burnt sugar, like dark caramel. When I say burnt sugar, I don't mean like burnt black sugar. I just mean very dark caramel. But when you taste it, it's like the cinnamon gum sweetness is just immense. So if you like cinnamon gum, if you like sweet spices, like imagine a saffron and rosewater syrup and those kinds of things, if you like that kind of flavor profile, you're gonna dig this tea. This tea is just unlike any other tea. You can't make a Chinese black tea taste like this. Just not possible. Yeah, I've said it. I put the challenge out there. You can take those cuttings and you can plant them in that terroir. It's not going to be the same. This is about origin, and that's why I love it. That's why I absolutely love it, because I taste origin, I taste terroir. Singbulli estate, very well established estate, 1924, I think. Obviously an estate created by the Brits, it's, you know, it'll be all organically grown. We won't call it organic tea because we never call any of our tea organic because, you know, it's just a hassle. Basically, we've got to always make sure you go through so many different hoops in order to get the, you know, approvals and the licensing, and then when it arrives in the country, you've got to demonstrate that each batch has been tested. And it's an expensive, it's a whole expensive palaver, which, you know, is maybe necessary for some, you know, supermarkets that want to separate out this is organic. But, you know, Singbulli estate, I'm pretty sure it's licensed organic, but we're not going to call it organic, but it'll be organically grown. It'll be using the same practices. 1924 plantation, so an old, very well established plantation with lots of different divisions. I think this is from the Singbulli division. And as I said, Tukta 383, China hybrid. And you can taste the terroir. And if you can taste the terroir, that is always a big step up for me, because that means that the plant has been established. It's not some young plant, it's an established plant. It's really like sucking up the atmosphere, the weather, the soil. Everything is being, you know, all of the information of the whole surrounding area, including the culture, including the way it's processed, all of that information is being sucked into the leaves and imbued into the tea. And that gives tea character. You may like the character, you may not like the character. That's a separate discussion. But the fact that it has character of terroir is fundamental, and this has it in shed loads. Cinnamon gum. Okay, let me smell the empty Gongdabe. Sugary. Coconut again. Yeah, those roasted coconuts that I talked about. And tamarind again, dried tamarind. So the flavor profile is very stable throughout the nose, aroma, dry, wet, taste, even the aftertaste and the empty. And that's another great thing. You know, oftentimes what you get is a tea which has great aroma, but just doesn't translate. It doesn't feed through to the whole experience. Again, that speaks of processing. It speaks of the plant itself. I do think that it makes a huge difference when leaves are left this whole. I mean, this is quite remarkable for a Darjeeling tea. For second flush Darjeeling, I mean, the majority that you taste are much more broken up than this. And look at the color. I mean, what a lovely color is that. It's just beautiful russet brown. It's just a stunning tea. And it makes me think, why are not more Darjeelings made like this? Okay, it's going to be pricier. And maybe they're just thinking about the market. But in my opinion, having absolutely no part to play in the economics there. So fair enough, you can just criticize me. But like, why not make the best damn tea that you can out of the land that you have available? And I think this is up there with one of the finest Darjeelings that I've ever tasted in my days, tasting this highly revered tea. Last sip from me, Singbulli Gold, and it is just beautiful, rich, golden, amber color. Cheers, everybody. Consistent. That cinnamon gum straight to the fore, and then breaks down into all of these other little spices, that black pepper, the wintergreen, the saffron, the tamarind, the turmeric. Fruits come through. Bit of dried mango, cooked watermelon. Absolute winner of a Darjeeling. If you love your Darjeelings, I hope that you appreciate this one. And if you haven't tried Darjeelings before, then go on, spoil yourself. Start with one of the best. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.